Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I turned this $3 long sleeve t-shirt into this bomb two-piece set that I have going on here. So this set is a asymmetrical skirt with a crop top that ties around your neck. This was actually pretty simple and easy to do. So if you are interested in seeing how I was able to achieve this, then keep on watching. Okay guys, so what you're going to need is obviously a shirt. So this shirt is a 4XL. Then I have some elastic bands, a measuring tape, some scissors, and as well as some pins. So the first thing that you want to do is cut off the arms. So we're going to use the arms to make the top. So just cut those out for now and just leave those to the side. And after you've cut out the arms, what you want to do next is just cut the top part of the shirt. And then you want to cut off one of the sides. That way you'll be able to open up the shirt and just basically creating just a blank fabric for you to work with. So this is what we're going to be using to create our skirt. So I'm just aligning everything to make sure that everything is together. And now as you can see, I'm using one of my skirts as an outline. So I just happen to have this asymmetrical skirt, and that's the design that I wanted to go with. So I just use that as an outline. But if you don't have anything like this around, this design is pretty easy. So I'm sure you could just freehand it. So now I'm just cutting off the fabric. So as you can see here, as I'm cutting, I'm allowing an inch or so of seam allowance, and that's going to be really important, especially when sewing, to make sure that everything fits correctly. So on the sides you want to allow about an inch or so of seam allowance, but at the very top of the skirt you want to leave out about I would say 3 to 4 inches of fabric, and that's going to be important because we're going to be adding an elastic band, so it's important for you to leave enough fabric at the top. So now what I'm doing is just pinning everything. So I'm just pinning the first side. So the longest side of the skirt is what we're going to be pinning first. So I'm pinning all of that, and then I'm going to be using a sewing machine to go ahead and sew that on there. You don't necessarily need a sewing machine for this, but I personally thought that, it's much faster with a sewing machine. But if you are, good at hand sewing, then by all means go ahead and do that. So as you can see over here, I'm just sewing that side down. And this is what it looks like after that one side is done. So now over here I'm just measuring my skirt, and it measured about 24 inches, and so then I went on the other side and measured about 8 inches down and set a pin to let me know where to stop sewing. So basically this was just gauging how much of a slit I was going to get. So I wanted my skirt to have kind of a dramatic and high slit, but if you don't want your skirt to have as high of a slit as mine, then you can obviously just measure it down a little bit further, but I just measured mine 8 inches down, and then I just sewed that part together, and I just left the bottom part with the slit. So this is what it should look like after you've sewn both sides. And now we're going to be adding the elastic band. So my elastic band is 2 inches, so this is where it becomes important for you to have left out enough seam allowance at the top, because you're going to measure out where you're going to be placing the elastic band. So you measure that out, and then you just take the skirt, fold it over to where you measured out the elastic band for, and then when you pin it, it's important for you to leave an opening, because that's the opening that we're going to be using to insert the elastic band. So now you're just going to go ahead and sew that together, once again leaving that opening open. So when you're measuring this elastic band, it's really important for you to stretch it out, so that way you are getting the correct sizing and length for the elastic band. So when you're measuring it around your waist, make sure that you are stretching it out and making sure that it's comfortable around your waist, and then cutting the necessary amount off. So once you've done that, you want to add a safety pin to the one part of the elastic band, and this is what you're going to be using to basically guide through your skirt. So this is going to make it a lot more a lot more easier for you to place the elastic band inside the skirt. So what you're seeing me do here is just basically placing one end inside one of those openings that we left out when we were sewing the top of the skirt. And all you have to do now is just gauge the elastic band through that upper area of your skirt. And this is what it's going to look like after you've worked the elastic band all the way through the top part. So now what you want to do is sew the elastic band together first to secure that, and then once you have the both end of the elastic band sewn together, you want to sew that opening. So you just want to basically close that opening of the skirt. So now as far as the edges of the skirt, I didn't have the cleanest cuts because my scissors were terrible. So I just went ahead and I hemmed the edges of the skirt as well to just get a clean look. So now after you've sewn everything down, and I just chose to hem the sides as well, this is what your skirt looks like, and you are all finished with the skirt. So this project is basically halfway done now. So now we're going to work on the top part. So you're going to take one of those arms that we had cut off earlier and just cut the top off of that arm, and this process is going to be really similar to what we did with the skirt. So you're just going to take that piece and take the elastic band, again measuring where it stops, and for this portion again make sure that you're leaving enough seam allowance. So the measuring tape once again is 2 inches, but I left out about 3.5 inches of space just to make sure that I had ample fabric to work with. So now what you want to do is, again, just like the skirt, fold that over, and then once you fold it over, you pin it, again leaving an opening for where we're going to insert the elastic band, and then you just want to sew all around. So this is really similar to what we did with the skirt. And then after you have that sewn down, I just went ahead and I cut the excess fabric off. And then same thing again, you're going to take your elastic band, making sure that you are stretching it and measuring it, to fit your body, making sure it's comfortable. And once you have your correct size, you're going to go ahead and cut the elastic band to where it needs to be cut. And then same method, again, this is very repetitive from what we did for the skirt. So it's really similar to that. You're just going to go ahead and insert the elastic band through. Once you have that all the way through, you can go ahead and sew that piece down. So sew the elastic band down first, and then close that opening that you have. So this is what you should have after you've sewn everything down. It almost looks like a headband, but yeah, so this is what that should look like. So now you want to take that other piece, so the other arm that we had cut off earlier, so you want to take that and basically split it into 2. And these are going to serve as the actual straps of the top. So after you've cut out the arms, what you want to do now is basically try it on to make sure that they're placed where you want them to be. So I put the band on, and then I put each of the pieces, where I wanted it, and then I marked it to make sure that when I do take it off, I know exactly where to sew it on. So now we're going to take our band and we're going to hide this hemline that you guys see over here. So all you have to do to hide it is just basically move it to the middle, so that when you move it to the middle, as you can see, the top and the bottom look finished and you don't see that the ugly hemline. So now what you want to do is basically align your tie pieces to those dots that we made earlier. So all you want to do is just take one of the tie pieces, and you're going to cut off a little bit of that excess fabric because we're not going to need that much fabric, so you're just going to cut that off. And then you're going to align it to one of the dots that we made, and then you're going to pin it down and you're going to sew it. It's that simple. So this is what the final result should look like. So now I'm going to show you exactly how I was able to achieve this. When you're pinning your your tie pieces to this base over here, you want to make sure that you're not pinning where the elastic band is, because if you pin where the elastic band is, you're going to end up sewing where the elastic band is. The reason why I left so much space at the top is because I wanted to make sure that I was sewing on the fabric. So as you can see over here, it's fabric pinned against fabric. I made sure to avoid pinning the elastic band because you don't want to do that. So now that I have it all pinned out, I'm just going to go ahead and sew it down. So after I sewed it down the first time, you see this weird opening that is over here? That's not what we want it to look like. We want it to look like this. Nice and clean and seamless. So in order to fix this, all you have to do is just flip the fabric and then just do a straight stitch right down, like right across it, and that'll fix it and make it look, you know, nice and neat. And this is what it should look like once you are all done. So basically you are finished with the top now. If you want to, you can go ahead and hem the sides of the ties. I didn't feel, you know, that it was necessary because they just tend to kind of, you know, roll on itself, so I just left it that way. And this is what your final product should look like. This is what it looks like once you have it on. I think it looks fabulous. I love the color, I love the way that it fits, and I think that it was pretty easy to achieve. So let me know what you guys think down below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.